So we should probably start. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Tipple's virtual wine tasting with Elizabeth and Jeff Beaudre from Tipple's Brews and Wines in Gainesville, Florida. This week, we are going to be drinking a new product from a very classic Napa winery.
All right.
All right. So Hess has a new Paso Robles production.
All right.
All right. We'll talk about Paso and why it's important, why it's fun as we go forward. We have in the past, but so it's called the Maverick Ranches.
Okay. Just in case, because the recording, I don't know. I think it normally picks up who's talking. So I appreciate Paul showing the bottle, but just in case.
Yes, right.
There we go.
Thank you. All right. So if you go to the first slide, please.
All right. You're not pouring for me first?
I will as I get that slide. All right. So ratings, none. Right? Because new products, smaller production, and made for on-site consumption. So restaurants and wine bars.
That's right.
Which we'll cover a little bit as we go. So food pairings, beef jerky. I thought that was fun, but it's totally legitimate for Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Portobello mushrooms stuffed with cheddar and Parmesan. The picture of that looks amazing. I want that.
It sounds fantastic.
Pepper stuffed with ground beef and flourless dark chocolate cake.
Okay. Actually, I've had flourless dark chocolate cake. That's been very good.
Right?
Yes.
So good. But it's not overly sweet, right? You get the kind that
It's
just
it's very dense. It's really good.
Very dense, very dark. Would go great with wine because of the lack of extreme sweetness. Well. All right. Varietal content on here is 75% or more cab.
It has to be.
I don't know. Yeah, it has to
It
be.
has to be to call itself cab.
Right. They regularly blend this with a little bit of Merlot and Maverick.
Okay.
Right.
So I've forgotten, is that, I know it has to be in order to be called cab, is that a California thing or is that a US thing? Because I know it's not international.
Great question. It's a California thing specifically.
Okay.
Yep. Each one of the different states and regulates in their own way.
Okay.
So not that there's a lot of cab being grown in other states, but there is some, right? But Washington State has quite a bit, and theirs is a little bit different. I believe 85.
Their requirement is 85.
Yeah, I think it's 85 if I remember correctly. It's different than California's. So jumps right out there. Very nice. All right. So alcohol content 13.5%. So for a cab, especially from a Paso Robles cab, right? That has restraint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like it's very fruit forward.
Well, and that is very much indicative of Paso.
Okay.
Right. Paso tends to be fruit forward, but does it finish with dryness or fruit?
Well, it makes me pucker some on the finish.
So nice tannins kick in, right? So it's got some power. To me, it dries out nicely. And so let me do one thing. Let's do the acid test. How much tartness is going on?
Okay.
We'll just jump in there real quick.
All right.
Really chew the wine. So I would say this fruit is fresh and not dried.
Okay.
So there is acidity left in the grape. So nice tannin, good structure. So you got that tannic structure, nice acid, some freshness. I would say, so this guy for aging, right? So it's really made for immediate consumption, but because of the tannin, the alcohol, and the acid, I would go 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
You could probably go 10, but it's not really made for extended aging.
What year is this?
This is a 20.
20. Okay. All right.
So this wine is not really made for being a 20, 30, 40 year ager. But I would say a 7 is an easy yes, and up to 10. It's good. It's good juice.
Yeah.
It's nice, well made. So. This is French oak. So we'll cover that, right?
Right.
Give it a sniff. Would you say you get more of a spice quality or more of a vanilla quality?
Well, I know French, my answer should be spice,
Mhm.
not vanilla,
Right.
but baking spices,
Mhm.
like whenever I hear spice, my brain immediately goes to like hot spicy,
Mm.
but we're talking more baking spices.
Right.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, more of a cinnamon allspice.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So this is not jumping out with vanilla, coconut, and dill.
Mhm.
That would be American oak.
Okay.
This is a French oaked wine, but there is a significant spice quality in here,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So they used, what was it? 40% new oak.
Okay.
So it's aggressive for French,
Yes. All right.
right? The French is less aggressive than the US. as far as oak is. And anyway, but it is fairly aggressively oaked, but with French oak, which is more demure,
Ah.
a little more elegance,
Mhm.
which is what they were going for. All right, let's stop sharing the screen and talk about a little bit what we're smelling and tasting for a minute.
Okay. Sorry, my tools are on the other screen. I'm not used to that yet.
Right. All right. So. So pretty, lots of black cherry. Nice baking spices. So I'm going to talk about allspice, a little cinnamon, maybe anise.
Yeah, that black cherry really jumps out to me.
So here's the thing, Paso can be very, very fruit forward. It can be obnoxiously fruit forward.
Okay.
This is not this wine.
Yeah.
This has a beautiful kind of balance to it. It comes in roaring, right? And all right, fruit, right?
Right.
But it pulls back
Mhm.
in the mid palate and the finish with a wonderful amount of just the spicy qualities, the beautiful amount of oak in there.
Mhm.
I wouldn't say I'm getting a lot of graphite, right? So in Cabernet Sauvignon, for a grape, if you're getting an expression of the terroir, so the earthiness, not the terroir is a combination of everything, but if you're getting the earth
Right.
coming through, it's generally going to be more an expression of black tea and graphite, so that pencil shavings.
Okay.
Not getting pencil shavings, but I can definitely make an argument for black tea in this, especially as it plays in the mid palate going into the tannins, because black tea has tannin as well.
Okay.
So to me, I think if you go with kind of a really wonderful black cherry, going with a nice spice and getting into a black tea quality, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
With what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. And then Paul has a question.
Excellent. And I'd love other observations now that I threw that out there.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I have as an observation. We've had ours open for 20-ish minutes now, and when you first gave a sniff, I heard you say, "Oh, that jumps out." We're not getting a jump out. We're definitely getting an aroma and everything that you're saying, but I'm not getting that jump out. So I wanted to ask you, how long have you had yours open?
Ours has been open about 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so about almost twice as
maybe
well.
45 at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if it's going to get more aromatic as.
Yeah. It now.
It also depends on your glass.
Right. I was going to say glassware. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that should be fine.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
should
isn't
work.
that the
Yeah,
same glass?
It looks like the same glass.
Yeah.
So that should encapsulate that and really bring, give it a spin. And then now what are you guys eating with it? Because maybe that's overwhelming your sense of smell.
Also true. I'm doing top hog barbecue.
Okay.
Some the pork, but then I've got some bacon wrapped jalapenos that I haven't tried yet with some blue cheese, and I saw the blue cheese on there, so I'm really excited to see if the blue cheese.
Oh, man. You guys live about 7 minutes away from us, so We'll see you in 9.
No, I was gonna say, no, I have a very different plate. So for me, because I'm going vegetarian for Lent, so I have an assortment of cheeses and a veggie burger with some truffle seasoning. So
Nice.
yeah, it actually pairs well with the black truffle seasoning and the veggie burger. So yeah,
Yeah, I bet it
For
does.
me.
And
This sounds great.
yeah.
and smoked Gouda, and the smoked Gouda goes, yeah.
The jalapeno is fantastic with it.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
That's one of my favorite things is bacon wrapped jalapenos.
I tell you, one of the things that, because I mentioned a stuffed pepper,
Mhm.
right? Peppers can work beautifully with cab. So,
Oh, and then the Montreals have a comment, nice balance. I like the lack of overripe fruit.
right, right.
Yeah.
So I think particularly impressive
Mhm.
from Paso Robles. Because
Because
now
it's so
Paso-
warm.
Paso is very warm, depending on where you are.
Mhm.
We'll talk about where this is later.
Mhm.
And they chose it specifically for that reason. But for Paso Robles fruit, it can be a very fruit driven. And I'm not saying this isn't fruit driven,
Mhm.
but it really pulls back and balances out beautifully, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So, and I know the Montrose have had a lot of really good wine in their time. This is supposed to mimic Napa. And honestly, I've had a lot of Napa
Mhm.
cabs that are bigger fruit than this in a negative way.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that is what they were trying to say is like, hey, you can make elegance in Paso. In fact, you can be better than some Napa wines. So anyway, that is kind of what they're working with
Yeah.
on this. That was their point. So
Now,
I
how-
love that observation.
Oh, I didn't know if they were gonna unmute,
Mhm.
so. And then Laura, John and Brenda, what are you guys eating with it?
We did a variation of a cassoulet, so vegetarian Italian sausage, cherry tomatoes, cannellini beans, with balsamic and onions and garlic. Yeah.
Yeah.
very
That
Nice.
sounds great.
Oh, I can see the balsamic really bringing that all together.
What do we have this evening?
This evening, well, your mother said it was all chilled.
Okay,
And so I don't know other than it's all chilled and so it's in the fridge.
okay.
I don't
All right.
know.
It'll be a surprise.
It will be a surprise. Will it be a match?
I don't know.
Unlikely.
So Rachel, once you swallow, you have to tell us what you're eating with it. Because I realized I was just about to ask the question and she took a bite. It's kind of like, the
Oh,
dentist. like
That
it's-
always happens. Yeah.
Or maybe
Hey.
chicken enchiladas. And I think that like there's a little bit of sweet corn in there. So that kind of balances out the acid that's on this. This is one of those like, oh my gosh, if somebody didn't know about red wine and you were like, oh, if they said something silly like I only drink Sauvignon Blanc, you could say, oh, come on,
Mm,
venture on this road.
Yeah, I actually think Brian would like this wine a lot because of the fruit forward, yeah,
Mhm.
and then the black cherry taste.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
All right.
Would you like me to
Excellent.
share?
Really nice tannin on that,
Yeah.
though. Not too much. This is got this has a really nice, almost Bordeaux-esque quality, but so here that sounds moronic in a way, right? Because Bordeaux is all about this beautiful balance between them, but it's just like the American version. Like we do this in beer all the time. We're like, oh yeah, it's that, but at this level, right? So the fruit has got a higher level of ripeness,
Okay.
but then they brought up the barrel
Mhm.
and they brought up the tannins, so it is balanced,
Right.
but at it's just
bump
turned
up.
up the volume,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's an American version of balance.
Now I just hear pump up the volume, pump up the
Mm, right.
volume. Dance, dance. See, there you go.
There we go. All right.
Little Gen X break for everyone. Ready?
Yes. All right, so the label review. So you're in a store, you're not in Tipples, and we're really sorry about that. That's awful. So you're there, you're getting no help. What can you figure out on your own from this wine label? Well, it's an American wine label style, which is super helpful in that Cabernet Sauvignon is right front and center.
Yeah, so I look
You-
at it, I see the kind of wine, I see where it's from.
Boom, yep.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
And I see the vineyard it's from.
the vineyard, so all that, boom, 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 and the vintage, right?
Mhm.
So it's like all there, very easy. No barcode. What does that mean? Not always, but usually it means it's an on-premise.
Oh, okay, so normally it means that they don't sell it at a bottle shop.
Right, so normally that means it's not a retail meant wine.
Mhm. It's just a
Um,
restaurant wine.
Right, it is a restaurant or wine bar wine,
Okay,
which is why we have this.
right,
This is an on-premise exclusive wine.
because we're a tasting room.
Because we're a tasting room, because we have a wine bar,
Mhm.
we get to sell it. Other people cannot. We'll talk about the extra benefits that you guys get because of the way we run our wine,
Mhm.
our
Well,
wine.
yeah, because you're not getting it at restaurant prices, so.
Right, and so, this is meant to be a $15 by the glass pour.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
yeah.
so everyone can take that in.
So
We
it's-
won't talk about what we did in the store, right?
We won't
But-
say that, but so at a restaurant, $15 by the glass, so you get 4 glasses to a bottle, so it's a
It's
$60.
$50 bottle, right? So, that is what this is meant to be.
Mhm.
Right, and it is, I mean, that is, and their point was, this is a way to get people to begin drinking Napa quality wines
Mhm.
without having to charge $30 a glass, because
Okay.
it's so expensive to produce in Napa. So
Okay,
they went to look for specifically locations in Paso that would live up to the same quality of what they wanted to produce.
okay,
Vinted and bottled is on the back. So they did make this wine, but they purchased the grapes.
okay.
They do not own locations in Paso yet,
Mhm.
but they're working on in that direction.
Okay.
But right now, they are a negotiant,
Okay,
so they are purchasing the grapes. They control how they're produced. And because sustainable production is very, very important to
Mhm.
us. And so anyway, that is the thing. So it's vinted. They take the grapes back to Napa
Huh.
and they're actually vinted in Napa.
okay,
at
but
the
with
same
Paso
location.
grapes.
Right.
Mhm. And cellar reserve means nothing.
I just want to put that. Cellar reserve means nothing. There is no definition of what that means.
Mhm.
I understand for them, they're saying, look, we took an extra step. We wanted, then maybe it was a matter of they tasted through the barrels and they got rid of the barrels they didn't want and sold them to someone else. That could be a thing, but there's no official definition.
Right,
So cellar reserve technically means nothing.
it may mean something to them, but it
Right.
also could just be marketing.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't want to be crappy to them about it, but they threw it on there. That wasn't just for marketing. It means something to them, but there's no official
There's no official
designation. So,
designation.
yeah. So
And-
when you're walking around without somebody talking to you, the US system does not have a qualification
Yeah.
or a quantification for what that would mean.
Well, and they didn't put it on the bottle. What it means to them.
Right,
You know.
exactly. Mhm.
Next.
Yes, please. All right, Cabernet Sauvignon. You may have heard of this grape.
What? What?
Yeah, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Right.
All right, the origin is in Southwest France.
Mhm.
We will look at the map in a little bit. Accidental crossbreed. This was an accident or a gift from above,
Yeah, there
frankly,
you go.
between Sauvignon Blanc, a white grape, and Cabernet Franc, a red grape. And it made a more intense red grape. This happened in the 1600s. More intense than either of the parent grapes. Let's go ahead here.
There's black cherry.
They're black cherry, black currant, so
Mhm.
that means red grapes,
Right.
right? Cedar, baking spices, graphite, which I
Mhm.
was saying, not getting a ton of that in this one. But dry, yes, full bodied, yes. Medium high tannins, we're medium plus on this guy. Medium acidity, that makes sense. I give it a solid medium.
Mhm.
And 13.5 to 15%. So this is not an overripe production, even though it's from an area that can produce that.
Yeah.
They really worked on restraining themselves,
Mhm.
and I think they produced a better wine for it. It's something that reminds me, like I said, a bit more of like a French wine,
Mhm.
but bumped up.
Sure. I'm not going to congratulate them on keeping the ABV low, but that's fine.
Fair. All right, let's see here. Next one, please. All right, so Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Sauvignon is the most popular grape grown in the world, not the most popular red. It is the most popular grape grown in the world.
Yeah.
Where is it grown? Right. Dominantly France, then Chile,
Mhm.
before the United
I'm
States.
surprised.
We love, but it's not by a large margin. Yeah. But Chileans also love growing their cab, and they grow really good cab.
Hmm.
Australia, Spain jumping in,
Okay.
right? China, I have had Chinese Cabernet Sauvignon.
How was it?
It was actually very good.
Mhm.
But it's very expensive because of all the tariffs.
Okay,
So for the price point,
it's not worth it.
it's not worth it. So if you were to get, say, look, hey, this is a highly drinkable $15 cab, right? They say, okay, that's fine. Like an event cab kind of thing, or casual Wednesday cab. That would be $35.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
it goes on from there. So the really good Cabernet Sauvignon that I had would have sold for $125, but it was worth about 55, you know?
Yeah.
So, which is a good Cabernet Sauvignon.
It is, but yeah.
Argentina makes really great Cabernet Sauvignon. In fact, honestly, I have more experience with Argentinian Cabernet Sauvignon than Chilean,
Really?
which is interesting that, and you know, even
It's what-
Italy,
What the distributors have, then like
Yes.
it's more represented. Mhm.
that's true. Italy.
Mhm.
So the Italian Cabernet Sauvignon would be from the Super Tuscans,
Okay,
right?
okay.
Yeah. So
So it's blended.
it's blended.
Mhm.
South Africa, largely not, you know, they're kind of hit and miss, some blended, some not.
Mhm.
Right. But they grow beautiful Cabernet Sauvignon down there as well. Anyway, super fun taking a look at all of that. It is now the most popular grape in the world, has been during all of the 1900s, except for a short time in the 1990s, when it was eclipsed by
Merlot.
Merlot.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And then sideways knocked it.
Sideways destroyed Merlot and it jumped right back down.
Yeah.
But there was a time when Merlot took over the top spot in the 1990s. Next one, please. All right. Cabernet Franc, the Mac Daddy of amazing wine grapes. So Cab Franc and Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon, right? Cab Franc and Croix Cabernet, Carmenere, right? Another one that we drink, and also Cab Franc with the Magdalene made Merlot. So Cab Franc is a very important grape. It's delicious on its own, and it is the daddy grape to this one.
Yeah, it's obviously, it's a really important grape because it contributed to, I mean, we drink 3 of the 4
Mhm.
at the bottom. And then really
Right.
2 of the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other ones you just really can't get. Maybe some obscure grapes when you're in a region,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, a very, very influential grape there.
next one, please. All right. So Southwestern France, when I talk about that, we are talking down here. All right. So Bordeaux and South, but basically the Bordeaux region, Southwestern France. Down here is a little bit of Tannat. Remember that one that we had?
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's such small
Is it
production.
time for another Tannat?
I would love to, or maybe just revisit this one with a new vintage. It
Okay.
was so good. There's
Yeah.
just not a lot of Tannat to be had.
There's Tannat.
There's Tannat a lot to be
Yeah.
had. So.
Paul is shaking his head at that.
All right, so in this case, we're talking about an intense skin and peripheral zone
Mhm.
and less intensity in the center of the grape where the acid would remain, right? So most of that is turning into sugar, which is turning into alcohol because a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon is higher alcohol than 13.5%.
I appreciate that about a lot of it.
And you get that intensity on the skin. So a lot of the character that we're getting from Cabernet Sauvignon is really directed in the outer edge.
Yep, you went.
All right,
That
so
was Jeff, not me. I
Nice.
don't have my hand on the mouse.
it's true.
We're in
Anyway,
the center of the center.
so in the center of the center, here we are. We're in Paso. So northern wine growing latitude on the west coast of the United States. We are down here. Let's see here. There's Paso. Right there. Let's go in. So the Inland Valley, that is where we're going. So here's Sonoma, Napa, and we are much more, we're in the Inland Valley. And when you get to the Northeast, which actually is where they're getting here, is where you start getting back into the Sierra Nevadas.
But that's where they're making it, but they're growing it down here.
There it is. There it is. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was missing Paso. Yeah. So it's still inland for me. I know that they don't call it inland, but honestly, most of it comes from in here. It's inland compared to coastal. Yeah.
Sure.
So,
It's not getting as much from the Pacific.
right. Thank you. I was looking like, where is it?
It's much further south than you were pointing.
I always think that because anyway, there's the thing.
Because you think all the grapes are up here, why would you go so far south?
Right.
But yeah.
Well, also in the Sierra Nevada foothills, like it's actually way up here, but a lot of the wineries that are connected come over from Paso, and it just,
Okay.
anyway, it's fair.
Sure.
I'll live with it. All right. So we're in the Central Coast, which is what we're talking about here. The Paso Robles vineyards. All right. So Paso means pass of the oak trees.
Okay.
So Paso Robles means pass
I
of
was
the
gonna
oak
say,
trees. Paso
Paso
just means path. And I will not pass on this one. All right. Though it's the Wild West of California winemaking because it can grow everything from your fairly obnoxious, overripe, cheap California wine to amazing wines. And it can grow everything from your French varietals through your Italian varietals and everything else. I don't know a grape that cannot be grown here.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe Riesling. Yeah.
So, yeah, because that's very cool.
Right, but there's Pinot here.
So when we're talking about, okay, it's the Wild West too, my question is too, like, I know like France has a lot of restrictions on what you can do.
Right.
So my feeling would be that our very, very well-established wine country, Napa, secondarily Sonoma, probably has a lot more restrictions than Paso does. Or is it just California and that's it? And there's not?
No, you're allowed to do whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh,
You are.
okay. All right.
So you're allowed to do whatever you want to pull what you think is the best out of the ground for those grapes in California. You can irrigate, you can not irrigate,
You can have, they have some things because they have percentages to call it a single varietal.
Oh,
Is that just for like cabs or is it like anything? If I'm going to call something a Chardonnay, it has to be 70%.
Oh, anything. Yeah, it's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a labeling thing, which is 75% or more, and so yeah.
So there are some regulations.
Oh yeah, there are regulations, but not as many regulations on growing.
Okay.
Right. So in France, there's a lot like you can't irrigate in France.
Right.
Right.
Although they might have to change that.
They may need to really look at that, but so things like that. But here you're allowed to grow it the way you want to grow it.
Okay.
And you can grow what you want to grow, because the other thing in France, for example, is if you want to grow, let me come up with something, Barbera in the middle of Bordeaux. Well, you can grow it, but you can't label it Bordeaux,
Okay.
right? Because they haven't approved that grape.
Sure.
But in Paso Robles, you can grow Barbera all you want. And
Okay.
you can call it Paso Robles Barbera.
Okay.
Like it's the Wild West. You can grow anything there.
Yeah.
And it's capable of growing basically everything
So you
in some section.
okay. You have a lot more creativity and
Right.
ownership.
And it's not, and it's not on every single acre, right? So everything more to the west, you want to be a little cooler growth because you
Sure.
get a little bit of that fog coming in.
Yeah.
It's going to cool down your growing and lengthen the time. So you want to be a little more Pinot, Chard,
Sure.
something that needs a little more time. Now you get into the valley floor. Now you can grow something. You want a rich Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah, that kind of thing, put it there.
Okay.
But then you come up on the eastern bank,
Mhm.
right? You get back up now, you're starting to get back up into the foothills. And you can start to do some things that are a little cooler again, maybe not quite as cool as on the Pacific side.
Mhm.
So there's something for every area.
Yeah.
And so many different mineral sources in there as well. So it's an amazing location. You
Yeah.
can do so much. Like you can't finish a wine trip unless you're going to be there for several months
Mhm.
in Paso.
Oh, wow.
It's too huge, it's too fast, there's too much going on.
This is why Jeff wants to go to Paso. See
Right.
how excited he is about it?
So the town of Paso Robles was founded by Uncle Frank and Jesse James. So
The Jesse James.
the
right?
Jesse James, right? A wide variety of growing conditions, some very unusual red blends, that kind of a thing. You might end up with something that's like, like a Barbera, Dolcetto, Cabernet Sauvignon. Like, I'm not saying it's there, but it could be. I'm going to tell you the stories found some amazing red blends when they were just there that I really, really want to drink. It's California's fastest growing AVA, so American Viticultural Area. Since the year 2000, it's grown from 50 to 200 wineries.
Wow.
Commonality is opulent fruit. That's one of the things we talked about with this, right? But good structure, spice, earth component, long, warm growing seasons without late season rain. So you can give the grapes a lot of hang time to gain character without them being diluted with the late season rain. Heat in the growing season reaches 105 during the peak of the day.
It's
A
okay. It's a
dry
heat.
heat, all right? But drops by 40 to 50 degrees at night.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're chilly and it stops that ripening during the night. So they relax, they don't keep ripening.
Right.
They wait until the next day, they start up again.
See, we could live there and I would be very happy during the day and you would be very happy at night.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. So,
Instead, you live here.
instead I live here where it's hot and wet.
It keeps you young. Be happy.
Yeah, well, that's true. All right, so the first varietal planted
I'm not
in
looking at your
in
picture.
Paso Robles
Mhm.
was what grape varietal?
Have you said it before?
I have. But you guys can guess, and
We'll throw it out to
you guys know me, so you have a hint.
Okay, Rachel said Zin.
Zin.
Not her fault.
Zinfandel was the first grape varietal.
They do
Yeah, they do
Okay.
lots of in there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I mentioned something about Jeff, it's like, okay, oh, it's Zin.
Yep, there you go. President.
Oh, that's really pretty. It's almost got a floral component now that it's had time in the glass while I've been talking forever. I don't know.
You've been talking
I just don't shut up. It's horrible. I don't know why you guys tune in.
constant. They don't listen to it all the rest of the night like I do. It's just an hour out of their time.
It's just, like, oh, it's fine to hear Jeff.
Mhm.
All right. So I think I have another Paso picture.
Okay,
Yeah, there we go. So you see the hills, it's a valley,
Yeah.
clearly
yeah.
beautiful. This is on the western side. So you've got
Well, I would think
The
we're
fog.
looking toward the west.
we're looking toward the
Yeah.
west. Mhm. So that's the fog coming in.
Mhm.
So you're dealing with some of the cooler growth varietals over there.
Sure.
Mhm.
Next.
Yes, please. All right, Hess Cellars. So Hess, an amazing name.
Sounds German. Is it not?
I have no idea.
Okay,
So it's fair. It could be.
we don't have when they came over or anything.
No. I
All
don't have
right,
that. So, but it was founded in 1978 by
Okay.
Donald Hess.
that's the dude on the left.
That's him on the
Okay.
left. In the Mount Veeder appellation in Napa Valley. So up in the mountains.
Okay.
And at the time, that was a really unusual choice.
Mhm.
Everyone was in the valley.
Okay.
And then why would you be up there terracing?
Right.
Why are you doing all this work?
Mhm.
And he felt like the volcanic soils and the difference, which is true, in the wind,
Mhm.
the coolness,
Mhm.
and the UV radiation exposure to the grapes would make more intense grapes. And he was totally right.
Sure.
So Donald started that. When Donald planted the hillside in the 70s, he was among the first to do so. The name Maverick on Maverick Ranches
Mm.
is kind of a respectful nod to what him and what he did and some of the other members of the family. Right. It is still family run.
Oh, that's
So
great.
this is the family. The head winemaker, if you go to the next one. This is the head winemaker. This is Dave Guffey, California native, educated in California's excellent viticultural collegiate programs. He went to a couple of them.
Okay,
Right. So that's why I did it. I said
Yeah.
it that way. Dave's quote is, "My goal is to make ripe, fruit-forward California style wines with both power and elegance." I think he's still living up to that,
Yeah.
like jumping over from Napa to Paso. This specific project, and he may say this because we've got a video to watch in a minute, was to basically create something that they were proud of as Napa producers, that they could sell at a much more reasonable price to get people drinking high quality Cabernet Sauvignon as and it's a gateway drug.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah, that's right.
gateway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that makes total sense. Like, we want you to know what good Cabernet Sauvignon
Mhm.
is. And Paso is that thing. And their point is they don't even say Paso's not as good as Napa. No, they say literally it's just not as expensive.
Sure,
So they're really giving a lot of praise to what
Yeah.
Paso Robles can create.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
they're just saying it doesn't have the overhead, so we don't have to charge as much.
Right.
But this is amazing cab and we're proud of it.
Yeah,
Which is kind of why I thought this was fun to
absolutely,
present, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So they began contracting in Paso. They're looking at buying, I believe, but I haven't seen any confirmation that
Okay.
they have. And the Maverick project is part of that. It's just the beginning of their working with Paso.
When did they start working with Paso? I don't remember what you said.
Oh, it's actually been the last 5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
very, very
Very
recent. Well, that's
So-
5, and this is a 3-year-old wine, so I mean.
But they weren't
Yeah.
new, they didn't new plant, it wasn't new planting.
No, I understand it wasn't new plantings, but still, this is very quickly after starting to work.
Oh, this is a brand new project
Yeah.
that just hit the Florida market.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that's why there's no ratings.
no ratings,
This is a new project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, before we start the video, I just want to note that Rachel said that she often starts with the wine on the chili side. This time it was more cellar room temp.
Okay.
And she put chilling sleeves on it to maintain, and it's worked out well for her. She really likes that. She said starting chili makes her drink faster without examining as much as she should. Yeah, I can see that. I think like when I do like the evolution of it opening up and warming up, and I taste more when it's warmer.
Sure.
But I think too, as Americans, we're just used to drinking colder beverages. You
We
know?
are used to drinking colder beverages and we're used to drinking our red wines too warm.
Oh,
So
really?
it's two things.
That's
yes.
weird.
Yeah.
We're used to drinking them too warm, but
Yeah.
we're used to colder beverages.
Right, because most people keep their red wine
Just-
in their room,
Well,
right?
yeah, ours is just
Right, so
on the winery.
75 degrees.
It is not 75 degrees in here. You would never let me have it 75
No,
degrees
it
in the
won't allow
house.
that, 72.
Look,
Still, 72 degrees, not 55,
no, that's, yeah,
right?
yes.
Other than I did throw it in the fridge, so
Right.
we actually started around 60 degrees.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so you said there is a video.
Yes,
Cool.
here it is.
Hold on. Can you write a note that says volume? I don't know how the volume is for you guys, but like it's because of the second screen, it has changed what we are hearing. So hopefully it's good for all of you.
Yeah.
What?
It should be fun, but then you can turn up the volume on that one too.
You did that last time. I thought it was the brightness that you turned. See, it's the brightness that you turned up. Remember you did that last time? And it
It's
was
supposed to
still
be
just the
weighted.
brightness. That button is still not controlling the
Yeah,
volume.
it's supposed to work. Okay.
It's supposed to work on
Yeah.
both? Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah.
No audio.
They have no audio.
That shouldn't have anything to do with that. So.
Okay, well, we're just gonna have to skip it then since they don't have audio.
I don't know
Did no one have audio?
It's very, very, very faint.
Yeah, that's what,
You could just kind of hear that he's talking, but you can't hear what he's saying.
Sure. Go there.
no, I've already done that, babe.
That should be fine.
It's because of the second screen. I'm just gonna unplug the second
That's
screen.
fine.
Okay, wait, I'm just gonna try unplugging the second screen and doing it again, so. Okay. All right. Now we'll try this
And
way.
this is
See.
all Kristan's fault, just so we know.
He's not even here tonight and it's his fault.
That's right.
Hold on, these things are in the way. So let's try this again and see.
Hi, I'm Dave Guppy, and I'm here to introduce our Hess Maverick Ranches Cellar Reserve Cab from Paso Robles. This is our first experience down in Paso Robles, and we went down there really to honor our founder, Donald Hess. Donald had a real pioneering spirit to him. It brought him up here to Mount Veeder. But we also found that spirit down in Paso Robles because the land down there is wild, it's rugged. To get to some of these vineyards, you can't use GPS, you just have to know where they are. I've been around Paso Robles for 40 years, and what I know from Paso is you get really great fruit-forward Cabernet with supple mouthfeel. So when we made this glass of wine, that's what we were after. I find really explosive and expressive Bing cherry, plum, some raspberry fruit coming out of the aroma.
I like the raspberry. Cool.
What makes Paso Robles cabs great is the supple, rich mouthfeel. This is a wine that will pair so great with so many foods. I'm thinking about roasted meat. I'm thinking about steaks. I'm thinking about really any hearty dish. But what makes the wine great and special is that the tannins don't command that. You can have this by itself and still enjoy it. It's a great Paso cab. It's Hess Maverick Ranches. Give it a try.
I bought this
Hold
little
on, I
lint roller.
pause and I don't know what happened with that, so.
I want that lint roller. There we go.
All right,
So could everybody hear it once we got rid of the second screen?
well, and see because.
Yes.
we
All right, good.
So it is the second screen.
It
I'm
is
gonna
the
plug
second
it back
screen.
inside.
I don't
can
know
see
what the
people.
hell that is.
I don't
It's
know.
only the video.
And it is Chris's fault because he was the one that demanded the second screen.
Right,
And now, yeah.
right. Not Montreux.
No, not
Dial.
Montreal. Dial.
No.
It's Dial's fault.
No, he's an innocent Chris.
But yeah, it's something with, we gotta look at the settings because it's sending
Yeah,
the
it's-
sound over.
I think it's
to-
sending all the audio to the second screen. I don't know why.
Yeah, well,
Anyway. So,
Dial is IT. He should have to fix it.
well, you know what? I'm on it.
Yeah.
So,
All right, ready?
yes. All right, so. Let's talk about wine scores, right?
Okay.
It has none. Right, so. When we look at these, it's Wild West of scores tonight. So. Is this a very good wine? Is it an outstanding wine? Is it just a good wine or is it a classic? So we've talked about several things that are in its favor, right? So price point particularly is in its favor. Location, is it really good for Paso Robles cab? Then you take in, is it good for Cabernet Sauvignon in general? You wrap that all into how much did I enjoy it?
Mhm.
And kind of give it a thing. It is there's a lot going into it. I get it, right?
Mhm.
So, and then taking into account also saying, all right, how many 90-point wines have I had in the past that I thought this was actually as good as or better than?
Sure.
Just because factoring in the reality of the industry,
Mhm.
right? We've talked about how the wines in the industry, people are not submitting wines they don't think are good.
Right.
So there is a glut of 90 pointers, but that's because the winemakers know what they're submitting.
Yeah, 90 something pointers.
Right, 90 something.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
anyway, but there's plenty of good 88, 89 pointers as well. So
Yeah.
that, thinking of all that,
Yes.
What do you guys think?
Yep, go ahead and throw it in the chat, and I will stop the share for a moment. Yeah, and now you get to drink. So we have
As
an
you see it.
88 from Laura and John. An 89 from Brenda.
Mhm.
A 90 from the Montrals.
Mhm.
We have a 90 from Consuelo. Oh, Dr. Fricker loves it. Please order more bottles, 92 plus.
You got it.
Yep. 88 from both Linda and Paul.
Rachel's number one.
Yep, Rachel's a 91. Cheryl 89, drink smooth.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would have gone with Rachel, a 91.
Nice.
Yeah. Mhm.
Very nice.
And I'm looking forward to seeing if it pairs well with our mystery dinner.
We shall see.
We shall see.
But this is a wine that you can drink alone or with food.
Mhm.
I like what they were going with. I see what they're going with. And I think anything from an 88 to 92 makes total sense on that. So to me, I fold it all together. This is a solid, realistic, very good 90-point wine.
Yeah. We should send it to them because we rated it for them.
I know, right?
Yeah.
X-rated 90.
X-rated 90.
That's right.
It's just your thing, in case you weren't here last week. His middle name starts with an X, so now he's
That's right.
giving an X.
My middle name is Xander. It's X-rated, 90 points.
Everyone encouraged him last week.
You are
so-
all welcome. Everyone said it was cool.
This train now.
We're done.
Sorry.
It's out of the station.
Okay. And Rachel said alone or with food, invite the new red wine drinkers into the fold. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think newer red wine drinkers would really like it. Because it's not attacking you like some of the big cabs do. the big
Sure, yeah, they can be
cabs.
really tight and you just say, oh, wow, you know, and a lot of people like that. A lot of people
I love the big
they
cabs.
drink that very tight, wound up young cab.
Well, I also like aggressive tannins. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like, oh, well, this is quality.
Mhm.
And it is quality, right? But it's just a little bit young. But you know what? Over time, it also mellows and becomes something you can enjoy a little bit more, you know, more casually. Or without as much aggression on the palate. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I like a good aggressive cab as well.
Mhm.
Um,
No, but I'm very appreciative of this. This is, yeah.
Yeah, I would say the only thing that's actually overwhelmed me where I said, oh, too much, I give, is a young Barolo.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I
yeah.
can't like, it's a weird thing. I say the words are, I can't picture what that tastes like. That's a
Right.
weird thing
Yeah,
to say,
no,
right?
well-
Because it's a visual for, yeah.
Well, and so you haven't had a lot of Barolo, and we don't drink Barolo here often.
Right.
Maybe do it in the fall because they're so expensive,
Yeah, okay.
right? So because of that, it makes it difficult to have a lot of experience
Sure,
with Barolo, but it can be brutal.
Yeah.
You're like, what welded my tongue to the roof of my mouth, right?
Yeah,
It's a
no,
lot to it,
absolutely.
so.
Yeah, and that's one of the points that Rachel's saying too. You can't, on a new red wine drinker, you can't give them Tate the Ballbuster.
Oh, I miss that wine.
Mhm.
Still not available in the state of
Great
Florida.
wine, great wine, love
Yeah.
that wine. So
Great wine. It's a beast.
very, very different from this wine.
So.
All right,
All right. So let's thank our sources.
okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Wine Folly. Wikipedia, wine.com, and Hess Person Estates. So
Okay.
that's from marriage into it. So it's Hess Estates is now
Okay.
Hess Person.
Okay,
Person, a winemaker in his own right with his family married in,
okay. He
And
was
so-
the super tall dude in the picture.
probably.
He's, well, there were only two men in the picture and one started the
Yeah,
Hess
that
winery, so
makes
it's
sense.
gotta be the other guy,
Gotta
right?
be the other one. So as we go to next week's wine of the week,
Mhm.
it will take a little explanation.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna just advance and then you can explain yourself.
Yes, all right, so next week's wine of the week. I have ordered 3 different wines
Okay,
because I have 3 different visions for what I wanted next week. I have 3 different explanations for why they all might or might not come in.
okay,
So I might have extra wines of the week ahead of time
okay.
or
okay.
not.
What does that mean, extra ones of the week?
Like I might have a stack, I might have all I need for 3 weeks if they all show up,
Oh, okay,
right? Because every one of them had a question mark about whether or not it was going to show up.
okay,
So I just ordered them all.
all right. So we'll see.
Whatever sticks is the one that we're going to have, and they're all amazing. I want every one of them as a wine of the week.
Are they all, well, I'm guessing they're not all the same grape.
They are not.
So can you tell us what it might be?
Surprising.
Okay, he doesn't want to ruin surprises. Sorry.
So
It'll be a surprise on Friday.
on Friday, yeah, we will know by Friday.
All right.
So, but we might have this amazingly cool grape that's one of my favorite obscure grapes.
Okay.
We might have this really cool grape grown in an area that's not the area. Yeah, like I don't know how to describe it.
Okay. So what we will do
I'm
is
trying to have some fun and
we will put it out on social media on Friday. We'll do both Facebook and Instagram. I'll put it on the website on Friday as well. If you haven't been on the website, go to the website. It's brand new as of the fall. If you go to events and go to the calendar, you'll see it on there. Normally I update it on Thursdays, but since we don't know what's coming in, the wine of the week won't be updated until Friday.
right, we'll see. Tomorrow will be.
So then you'll see. So April 4th is, we were going to do an April Fool's Day kind of theme. So this kind of goes along with that, since there are 3 of them.
Right.
We'll see about what's going on with that, because I know there was one you said it was surprising or something.
Right, no,
So all 3 are kind of.
all 3 of them are potentially surprising, tricksy, wonderful wine.
Okay.
But then they were tricksy with me.
Okay. So then
So,
they are all
yeah.
Loki, the god of mischief. for
Yeah,
sure.
it is literally all coming together in that way.
Mhm.
No matter what we have, it's going to be amazing.
All right.
And then
Cool.
the other ones will come in the future.
All right, so so we will announce on Friday, and I'm assuming, like, I don't know when the newsletter goes out through email, because Mike does that, but I'm sure it'll be in the newsletter too. But that might be a little late for the tasting, I'm not sure.
No, it should be in time.
Okay,
Yeah, so.
all right, cool. So Facebook, Instagram, website, you can find it on Friday.
That's right. Exactly.
I don't know. I know nothing about it.
You know nothing.
It's a policy, except to kind of say
I've
that
given
they
you
were gonna be
something-
tricksy. All
Right.
right, okay.
That's right. I wanted to have some fun with it.
All
And
right,
so when I
sounds
have,
fun.
so in having some fun,
Mhm.
it has been no fun in trying to get them in, because I'm dealing with wines that are a little less called upon, right?
Okay.
They're delicious, but that's kind of what I do anyway, is I find the badass wines that are ignored in most distributor portfolios.
Okay. Linda says to do all, the 4th is her birthday? She's a 4th like we are. We're
Okay.
both the 4th.
Yeah.
As well. And so is Robin. She's a 4th. So we're not April 4th,
Right.
but September 4th, Robin's September 4th, he's November 4th,
Right.
and then cool, April 4th. Very cool. All right.
All right, it's going to be really, really fun. I've found these amazing wines that I'm excited about. It'll be great. All right.
Okay. It'll be great and a surprise. So,
Yeah.
thank you all for
I
coming.
wish I could tell you more. I just don't know which one, right? So,
Right. This is the first time you've ever done that.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what we're having.
yeah, well, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
in 3 years.
Yeah. I feel a little bit badly about it, but honestly, I made it 3 times. A shot. Anyway,
Well,
it'll be fun.
We'll see what comes in.
That's
Okay. Thank
All
you
right,
all.
thank you, guys.
Cheers.